All right, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose. Thank you for being here. We got a lot to catch up on today. October is coming in red hot, just like we expected. Black swans actually landing, and the effects will be felt, I think, before the end of the month. And it's not just me saying that. We're going to listen to what the leader, let me get his official title. We're going to listen to today what the leader of the longshoresmen did. That's the president of the ILA, Harold J. Daggett, what he said. And it's going to be very eye-opening for those of you that haven't heard it yet. For those of you that might have already heard this, it was an interview a few weeks ago. Stay tuned because we're going to kind of dissect it a little bit. And I think I might have a little bit of a different angle than what you may have or what other people may have gotten out of it. But bottom line is we're going to see some big things unfold with shortages, inflation. Unless somebody comes in and fixes this and negotiates a deal, we're going to see massive impacts of this month. And this is just one of the things I've been warning about in October. We've got the new banking regulations. We've got a lot of other things. Student loan on-ramping is done this month. We've got war breaking out all over the world. It's expanding, more U.S. involvement. But yet the market's still shrugging it off for the most part. I've got this massive hurricane. That's something I've been warning about here. The rise of extreme weather and the shortages that it causes, the job losses, people out of work, businesses blown away, flooded, you name it, in the millions, folks, of people affected here. Now, how does it compare to another big hurricane? Was it 2005 Hurricane Trina? Well, let's take a look here and just kind of put it into perspective. So it's not quite as bad as Hurricane Katrina. So far, this is the latest count that I have for Hurricane Helene. And it's indicating about 183 now found, passed away. Soldiers being sent to assist over there. Hurricane Katrina, 1,300. So we're about maybe 1/6 of what Hurricane Katrina was as far as the bodies, the body count, right? So we'll have to see how it stacks up here. I'm hoping, that we don't get much worse news than we already have, but it's major devastation, folks. And they're talking about another storm. It's just too much to even believe here. But how did the markets react to it? Markets didn't seem to mind, actually. Today, October 2nd, Dow Jones up in the green, NASDAQ in the green, S&P in the green, slightly, not a big green day. Russell 2000 down slightly. Oil coming up on $71 here. Gold 28.60. Looking for a safe haven buy here. Silver 32.15. If you've got into silver when I said you're doing very well, you've more than doubled your money at this point. But let's listen to this interview with the president of the longshoresmen and listen to what he says. He's basically proud, and maybe you hear it differently, but it sounds to me like he's proud of bringing on the shortages to prove a point, to prove how essential these workers are. And let's go ahead and get right into it. Bring it up here. All right, let's take a listen. President of the International Longshoresmen Association. Listen to what he says here. Recent interview.
I remember how significantly it impacted our businesses, like the supply chain, because I live on the Chesapeake Bay, and all the ships were just waiting on the other side.
Let me explain something to you. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships.
Second week, folks. We're talking maybe next week if he's correct. And he's the president of the ILA. Continue here.
They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship.
Everything in the United States comes on a ship. He's exaggerating. Obviously, not everything. There are some things manufactured here. But when you look at the percentage of products that are shipped in, that you buy off the shelves, it is tremendous. It is it's an extraordinary amount. So Maybe he's trying to be a little over the top here, but I don't think he's wrong. I think we're going to see, unless something's worked out, I think we're going to see the effects of this very, very soon.
They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8.
So in other words, they can be forced to go back into operation, but the workers are going to revolt and basically do a minuscule amount of work, is what he's saying.
They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
There you go, folks. What do you think about that? And to kind of touch on what he was talking about, let me just bring up some information here for you. The president could invoke a 1947 law to try to suspend the dock workers' strike. And he mentioned it there. Section 206 of the Labor Management Relations Act 1947, better known as the Taft-Hartley Act. And that's the one that he was talking about there, folks. Authorizes the president to seek a court order for an 80-day cooling off period for companies and unions to try to resolve their differences. Biden has said, though, that he won't intervene in the strike. So even if you don't intervene in this method, in this way, it's very important that he does, because otherwise all this is going to land on his shoulders, right? And I've said here, October, look out below, folks. This was just one of the risks, and we were only in the second day of the month. What's going to happen before the end of the month, right? Everything is starting to come together. Black Swan's landing. It's going to be pretty, I would recommend getting some extra goods for your shelves. In my last report or 2 reports ago, one or the other, I said don't panic. Don't panic buy. But keep in mind, I've been preparing for something like this for years. You should see my shelves. A lot of canned goods ready for it to hit the fan. But to those of you that haven't begun maybe putting away anything extra, canned goods, etc., you might want to, I wouldn't say panic, but you might want to grab a few extra things on your way back from wherever. Something else, another thing I've been urging caution to be ready for, to be aware for, is the cyber attack situation. We've got Bank of America. They were out. They were down. Many accounts showed zero balance during widespread outage. More than 20,000 customers reported having trouble accessing their accounts. Right? Remember the huge outage we had a few weeks ago and all the data breaches, right? Things just seem to be getting worse on this front here. Customers said they could not view their account balances. Those who could view their account balances said they had an alarming zero balance. For many, a connection error message popped up while trying to log into the banking app. A message said it was unable to complete your request. Try again later. By 1:15 p.m. Eastern time, they said they were having trouble. Many countries out there, we know there's many countries out there that are hostile towards the U.S. Many of the BRICS countries, for example, have turned against the U.S., not just monetarily or financially, turned against us because of our funding of the weaponry shipped around the world. And by the way, imagine all the extra help we could have given to the victims of the hurricane if it weren't for all the money handed out all across the globe, right? So I think a lot of people are maybe starting to think a little more critically now about how we just throw money all over the world, right? And we have mainstream news finally out there talking about this, even though I've been warning about this for a while. Could reignite inflation at the same time as they're cutting rates. Folks, is this going to end up good? I don't think so. Consumers are already, for the most part, at the end of their rope. A big percentage of the population's near the end or at the end of their financial rope. And we've got all these things coming together now, folks, and they're talking about more rate cuts. So are they really data dependent? Remember, data dependent, data dependent. We're going to see what the data is, and we'll decide what we're going to do. Well, why are they forecasting more rate cuts if they're data dependent, right? So what they're saying doesn't make sense. It doesn't even back up what they've said in the past as far as being data dependent, right? So very interesting here. What do you think about the price situation? Is it going to get worse? Student loan on-ramping ends, putting some borrowers at risk of delinquency. Will they just reverse it? Or will that be another weight on the economy that's going to be showing up here in the spending habits of people very, very soon? And how many people are going to lose their jobs? As the president of the Longshoresmen said, job losses will occur, right? When there's no product, people have to go to the unemployment line. They get sent home, all right? Again, will there be a last minute deal? Will this only be temporary, short term? If not, look out, folks, because it's going to be major. We talked our last report about how the U.S. dollar is now 60% of the U.S. reserves. And that's the first time since 1995. Something else to keep an eye on here, continual de-dollarization. Another sign things are not headed in the right direction. U.S. manufacturing activity contracts for the 6th straight month. ISM PMI holds steady, 47.2% in September, below the forecast. Folks, when it rains, it pours. No pun intended there. Five Guys burgers. Customers are complaining. My question is, why are you still going there if it's too expensive? Customers are complaining. Here's a receipt, and let me just bring this up here. And what are we looking at here? Cheeseburger, $12.50. Holy moly. Soda, $2.89. A little French fry, $5.19, of course. Got tax on top of that. So you're looking at over almost $22 for a single person meal, cheeseburger, soda, and fries at Five Guys Burger. The last time I ate at Five Guys, it was for my son because he wanted to go there on his birthday. And it was 5 people and basically fed the whole family. It was not even something I want to repeat here. It was over $60 for a burger joint, $60, right? When I spend $60, I want to sit down. I want to get waited on. I want to have a nice, maybe a steak dinner, not some burgers and some fries and a soda. All right, folks, please let me know what you think about all this, especially what the Longshoresman president said. It's actually much worse than I thought. I didn't think the quote-unquote leaders would be so oblivious to not intervene and have them work out some sort of deal. Even pay the workers, offer to pay the workers out of some other budget instead of sending it everywhere else, right? So this could be the month, folks. Brace, buckle up, strap it in, whatever you want to call it. Please let me know down below. I'll be reading your comments. We're going to wrap this one up, everybody. Keep stacking. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now. Peace.